Hey everyone, so I'm back finally doing another movie review. A few things got in my way, but I'm back now. And I'm back in part 5 of my little series where I'm talking about all the Ninja Turtles movies. And now we're getting to the final 2 that have come out so far. And I gotta say, back in 2014, there was a lot of hype surrounding this, both positive and negative, and mostly negative, especially in the years before as things were being planned. Do you remember when it was announced that this would be produced by Michael Bay and would star Megan Fox as April O'Neil, and the turtles would be 6 foot tall and would be aliens? Do you remember how much bashing the premise got from that? Because I definitely do. And I gotta say, I wasn't really mad about a lot of this stuff. For one thing, I do respect Michael Bay as a director. I haven't seen much of his films, but I've seen the first 4 Transformers movies, and I like the first 3. I actually really do like them a lot. I feel like Michael Bay has been generally criticized as having his movies be overly raunchy and too reliant on explosions. But if the new Ninja Turtles movie was going to be anything like that, I wouldn't mind as long as there were some other things in it. Some things that really mattered to me are, I wanted the Turtles to retain their fun-loving personalities, I didn't want April O'Neil to be the damsel in distress, and I also didn't want there to be any misguided messages, you know? And on that note, this Ninja Turtles entry really does fit the bill. I gotta say, I really had a blast when I first saw this movie, and even though I didn't find it perfect by a stretch, there was still just so much around it that I really enjoyed. For one thing, Megan Fox is actually one of my favorite actresses. She seems so brave and independent and sure of herself, and she really knows how to get into character and make that character her own, you know? She seems really fierce and strong, but also as likable as possible. And she really commits to being April O'Neil. And also what I liked about this April is this origin story of the Turtles, it switched up a little bit. So this time, this April has some actual real history with the Turtles. The Turtles and Splinter used to be her childhood pets that she had to let go after an accident that killed her father, which relates to the plot at hand. And that added a bit of chemistry more to April and the Turtles that was not as much in the others. It's kind of strange, like when you see that they are actually a sort of family. I really enjoyed that story point. Now as for the plot, I wouldn't say it's anything really special. It's kind of your typical, we have to thwart the bad guys and they just want to get super rich even though they're already rich scheme. And, you know, honestly, that it does kind of make sense for that to be a sort of plot. That's not a far-fetched idea. In this day and age, the 1% just want to get richer and richer and richer. Greed is really destroying mankind. So I feel like even though the plot is very thin, it ended up working just enough. And I think it really is superior to the 2007 TMNT plot. Now here are some general flaws. When April is trying to pitch something to her boss, played by Whoopi Goldberg, and she brings as much proof as she can without, well, a concrete picture of the Turtles, she ends up getting fired. But then really later on she goes to William Fichtner's character, Eric Sachs, and she displays a picture of the Turtles that she got that she could have showed to her boss. I don't really know why she didn't show her that. The movie also seems to have a bit of trouble deciding if it's an origin story or just a proper continuation of the Turtles. It seems to want to try to cater to people who are brand new with the premise of the Turtles and longtime fans, but a little of it can get smushed together like oil and water. For instance, near the end, Raph says a very sweet, I must admit, speech about how he was so sorry for all the times he had been rude and challenging to his brothers. And you kind of get the impression that that's a treat for those who are longtime fans of this franchise, because there's not much in the actual movie that he does that is in merit of apologizing. The turtle designs are pretty okay. What I like the most about the Turtles are their personalities are kept in check, and they don't spend all their time bantering or dancing. It's just a very nice balance of both goofy and serious at the same time. I wasn't the biggest fan of Michelangelo, played by Noel Fisher. He was okay. It's just he was really up in my face a little too much for my taste, you know? Even though I guess that is how Michelangelo generally acts. But we could have done with a little less of him, honestly. But now to the action scenes. The opening has all of these ninja weapons being masterfully used all over the place in the darkness, in the shadows. I don't even know if I know what I'm saying. But Once we are introduced to the turtles, there are so many terrific angles that the camera uses. It seems very comic book-like. They do flips and corkscrews and the camera follows them around all the time. It's like a Rube Goldberg contraption, especially this very great fight scene in the snow in these mountains. The thing is, I ended up seeing this movie in the theater twice, and even though it is flawed in a few significant parts, there was just so much about it that whenever it got really good, it really stood out. Especially near the ending when Master Splinter says some very sweet things that like kind of makes up for all the times where I didn't like him, such as in The Secret of the Ooze in the 2007 TMNT. It's not just the turtles that grow during this movie. Splinter really does as well, and he's willing to admit it. I had never seen that from any other Turtles productions before. And so I knew after I heard Splinter say that I knew there was no way that I couldn't recommend this movie. My original score for the Ninja Turtles when I first saw it was a B+. Sadly, I have to lower my final grade today to a B, but still, I would still really recommend it. I think that this Ninja Turtles movie is a very underrated one, especially since right now it's the lowest rated one on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a nice little summer popcorn flick, and even if it's not as grand and polished as a lot of others, I would still say it does have a lot of charm. So thanks for watching this review. I'm curious as to what you think of the 2014 Ninja Turtles production, and I'm looking forward to reviewing the final one, Out of the Shadows. I would love to know if you can guess what my grade for that one is, just in case, you know? We could play a little game. So yeah, I'll see you soon.